the fact that that has got special mention in an Independence Day speech is definitely a positive sign, because he is talking about reducing carbon footprints. He's talking about greener sources of energy. And that is the need of the hour, especially at a time when we are talking about electrification of villages, and we are trying to talk about electrification of Indian railways as well. I think he did speak about 100% electrification of the Indian railways.
Namaste everyone, welcome to Chiti Media. My name is Sharan Sethi. Today, as we mark the occasion of India's 75th Independence Day, we are going to look at what Prime Minister Modi has to say in his speech at the Red Fort delivered today. We have with us Pratibha Raman. She is one of the prominent journalists from Bangalore, and she is essentially a political journalist who's worked in Times of India, NDTV, News Nation, and India Today. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to Chitti Media.
Thank you so much, Sharan. Love this opportunity.
Right. Ma'am, first thing I want to ask you is journalists are also frontline workers, so you're always on the ground. So, how are you, and are you safe from the pandemic?
Thanks so much for asking, Sharan. So far, so good. So I just hope I continue this trend of keeping myself safe and my family. And I
Right.
hope you are too.
I am too. Thank you so much for asking. And with your permission, if I may proceed on to my first question.
Sure, sure, sure.
Ma'am, before I get into the specifics of what Prime Minister Modi actually addressed segment by segment, could you actually tell how aesthetically it is different this time compared to the other Independence Day speeches that he's given? What change do you observe, especially as we are living through a second year of the pandemic?
Well, Sharon, if you notice, every time his Independence Day speeches are very, very power packed. In fact, I still remember the first speech of his in 2014, when he spoke about the rape cases in India. And he did stress on how every parent must really bring up their sons as carefully as they bring up their daughters. And that was one of those speeches that had a very emotional chord. It struck a chord with every person, every parent over there, and everybody wanted to have that particular resonance with PM Modi. So from that to now, we see a very subdued Modi, perhaps because the country has also gone through a roller coaster ride in the last 1.5 years. So it is but natural for Mr. Modi to remain that way. But then I did expect a lot of those punch dialogues of his, maybe
Right.
being an ardent fan of not just Modi, but even Rajnikant from southern India. You expect all of these kind of power packed or punch dialogues in the speeches, except for, I think, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, or even Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I didn't see any kind of those,
Right.
very new jargons that he would introduce in any of his speeches. So that way, yes, it lacked that luster in his speech. But otherwise, I guess there are quite a few positives, which I guess we would stress on as we move segment by segment.
Right. Now, coming to the first segment, which is on agriculture, I think this has been in the news for quite some time now. Again, like you said, it's been subdued in the last few months. But we've all seen the farmers' protest and how it sort of disrupted the Republic Day celebrations last time. And this time, too, I think Prime Minister Modi has tried to address that in a certain way of his own. What do you read between the lines in his speech, especially when he refers to a lot of the agriculture related issues and farmers specifically?
That's right. In fact, farmers got quite a few mentions in this particular speech. Perhaps it's some sort of a appeasement tactic that PM Modi is using in terms of assuaging the wrath that he has earned from their side. So perhaps he is trying to ensure that, after the entire introduction of the farm laws that have been introduced in order to reshape the country's agriculture industry, he's perhaps trying to tell them that, look, this is an attempt to ensure that every small farmer in this country is going to have a special mention in ensuring that they become the pride of India, or in terms of introducing new facilities, especially stressed on small farmers with less than 2 hectares of land. So those are the kind of farmers that he is trying to target over here. And not just that, he is talking about every farmer and calling it one of those very famous jargons of his, which I forget right now, something about Kisan, that I had written down. Just a second. Chota Kisan Bane Desh Ki Shaan. So these are some of those dialogues that you expect in every PM Modi speech. So this time too, he ensured that he kind of resonates with the farmer crowd by having a Hindi jargon introduced, especially the farmers in northern India who have been up in arms against PM Modi. So this seems like an attempt to kind of assuage that, but I didn't noticeably see any kind of attempt in terms of PM Modi trying to tell them that, or elaborate more on the farm laws and tell them that this is not going to affect you, except for what happened earlier. This new speech of his did not have anything to kind of refer to the past. So that left aside, he is only focusing on what is to be done. So I don't know whether it is good or bad, but I guess the farmers will have the answer to that in a short while.
Right. I'm really glad you brought that point up, because one of the other issues that's come out to light in the last 2 years is that of economy. Economies perform so badly, especially because of the pandemic, and slowly it is recovering month by month. What was Prime Minister Modi's highlights about his plan of revival for the economy?
Well, in fact, the last year hasn't been really good, the financial year that I'm talking about, because India's GDP has really shrunk by 7.3% in the previous year. We are talking not just about COVID having ravaged the country and kind of, crippling the economy, but we're also talking about the repercussions of it, like unemployment on one side, migration that we saw on the other side. So all of this kind of has impacted, which has not been in the hands of the center, but though, you had these unforeseen circumstances play a crucial role. But Modi did stress on boosting manufacturing, exports, homegrown industries, promoting innovation. So, those were some of the aspects that he did talk about. But the most interesting one is the National Infrastructure Master Plan, which is, I think, budgeted around 100 lakh crore rupees. And he had an interesting name for that also, Gati Shakti Plan. So, let's hope that this infrastructure plan would kind of help revive the economy, because that is really the need of the hour at this point in time. We have 75 Vande Bharat trains in 75 weeks that he has spoken about, and he's also spoken about the Kisan Rail and how that has kind of hit more than 70 rail routes. So this is also one of those platforms where he can really market what India has really done in terms of development. All this while we have seen India talking about more on the lines of religion and Hindutva and things like that, and now we are back to focus, which is development, and that is an interesting point, especially when elections are around the corner.
Right. That's very interesting, because you say that there is a change in the political discourse of the country, especially with the way that Prime Minister Modi is steering the attention back towards developing the economy and focusing on the infrastructure and agricultural sector. He also mentioned something very interesting. In the last 5 years, there's been a huge push towards renewable energy. Um, and today as well, he spoke about climate change in a very positive fashion, addressing the contagious issues behind it. So, how do you think the policy direction has come towards this, and what do you make out of his speech, especially on climate change?
Well, in fact, it's not just news in the country, but news around the world has spoken only about climate change. Especially in the last few weeks, we have seen floods ravaging India, landslides everywhere. We have seen floods in major parts of Europe, as well as forest fires in Greece. So all of these kind of has put the focus or the spotlight back on climate change. And it is pretty interesting to see that India has been one of those countries that has really spoken about climate change time and again, whether or not we've made any progress in it. But then the fact that we are at least talking about it is a pretty good sign. And the fact that that has got special mention in an Independence Day speech is definitely a positive sign, because he is talking about reducing carbon footprints. He's talking about greener sources of energy. And that is the need of the hour, especially at a time when we are talking about electrification of villages, and we are trying to talk about electrification of Indian railways as well. I think he did speak about 100% electrification of the Indian railways. So that is definitely one of the best ways forward, because in the other aspects of his Independence Day speech, he didn't really stress on what he is going to do in terms of the intricate details of the strategy. It was more like a superficial um announcement of what he is visioning for India. But here we have some of those intricate details in terms of what he plans to do, like have net zero carbon emitter by 2013, which is a vision. Again, how is he going to do? I don't know. National hydrogen mission, which is again something that he spoke about. He spoke about green hydrogen. So these are some of the different aspects of climate change that he wants to touch upon, but how is he going to touch upon that is something that we'll have to wait and watch. So Sabka Prayas is, I guess, our own bit of things that we do in terms of reducing carbon footprints, I guess. So let us see what will be the rules and regulations that he would introduce in terms of having that plan go forward.
Right. Thank you for raising those very interesting points. Now, if I may come towards the slightly more controversial, the more political part of his speech, where he spoke about the partition and the atrocities committed during the partition, and he coined a term called Remembrance Day. How do you think this has played out in national polity today, especially because the opposition says that it's an attempt to polarize certain communities?
Well, I mean, you and I weren't there, Sharan, in 1947, but then going by history, it has been one of the days that has seen the largest migrations in human history. So, and that is definitely not something that's really very pleasant to think about. So it is definitely going to kind of open up past wounds, open up painful memories. So this is how the day is going to be. Do we really want to remember that? So that is a key question that many of the critics have been posing. And plus, with elections around the corner, is this also going to be some sort of a polarization bid? So, I mean, I understand the focus is moving from Hindutva to development, but then that also kind of plays a role here, because you need to have that, having spoken about surgical strikes and, trying to see that India is going to be the a new stand of India that you see in terms of, making a stronger point of view with respect to any kind of threats being posed by the neighboring countries. So keeping all of this in mind, is this really the need of the hour? That is another question that we really need to ponder, especially during a time when we are talking about CAA, we are talking about NRC, and all of these that have kind of created a rift between India and the other countries, including some of the countries in the West. Do we really need this at this hour? Because we're talking about this at a time when you have the Taliban Afghanistan attack going on, Pakistan and India playing a crucial role even in that aspect of the war. So do we go towards a diplomatic stand, or do we go towards a stand where that creates a polarization in some sort of way, is again a big question mark. So I really don't know whether PM Modi is treading the right path or the wrong.
Right. Ma'am, thank you so much for those interesting answers. I'm sure there's a lot to learn from what you just told today. I'm glad you could take some time out to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sharan. Look forward to more such topics that we could discuss about.
Absolutely. We would love to host you again as well.
Thank you. Thanks to you as well as Chitti Media.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaste.
Thank you. See you.
And to all our viewers who are watching this, please do subscribe to our content. This is your host, Sharan Sethi, signing off.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.